We are live.
We're live.
We're live.
It's good to be live. How you guys doing?
Doing well. So this is our 5th Fireside. We're just gonna be candid here. We're not scripting this one. We're just talking.
It was a big relief not to have to memorize a script and rehearse like I did on the last 4. What a load off, I tell you. I don't think anybody.
I mean, we had some direction, but yeah.
These are more for posterity.
The future of the beta nodes is kind of our topic, I guess.
I don't know. I think we can cover a lot. These will be historical documents if anybody ever goes back and explain this mess.
Or Exhibit A.
Exhibit A, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Mr. Meehan, didn't you say on July 21st, approximately 11:33 a.m.? I don't know. It was deep fakes. Blah blah blah. So yeah, we've kind of had like a sophomore slump in 2022. I'm tired of waiting because it's a bunch of like putting feelers out that people like. Again, I don't want to name names, but liquidity providers who, it just takes a long time. And as I shared with you last time, we're kind of waiting on a big compliance meeting from the liquidity provider we've been talking to. And to be clear, their offering is as a miner or an artist, you can convert your vol to USD or your favorite fiat currency. And it all happens in a compliant way. So, hopefully nobody goes to jail.
Right.
Or gets a call from a regulator. But they're taking a long time. It just takes a long time. And it's not clear. The last time I spoke, they said we're going to have a big deep dive compliance meeting. And I kind of shared, here are conceived use cases and flow of funds. But honestly, in the meantime, no development. There's no forward momentum, and we had a lot of forward momentum last year, kind of up until the war in Ukraine started. Just coincidentally, that's about when I started talking to these people. Stop doing active work. So that's a long way of saying I need somebody to get me back on track with this project and get it back on my mind as a dev and doing things with it. Gamer cert's out there, but all the people who I think were interested in becoming miners had become miners. We made them miners before, or they're no longer running their nodes because they mined a bunch of beta product, and then there wasn't any art for it.
Right.
As I think I touched on last time, we have artists. We're just all too busy to. We give them the card list and said, "Hey, artists, art those cards. We'll pay you money." And then that was it. Usually when you do this kind of project, you have to be like, "Hey, artists, art these cards." Okay, is the art ready yet? Where's the art? We're waiting for the art.
Every day.
Every day, and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So we're not on board for that. We'll pay for art. Well, we're all too busy to
hassle the artists.
To do the thing they said they would do.
Well, it's funny too because we offered artists to be paid and basically said, here's some descriptions, do what you want with them. And we were trying to be as hands-off as possible. And they still need hand-holding.
Yeah, they don't like that, it turns out.
Yeah, they want defined direction.
They do.
They need Bad Dad so they can rail against them.
They need somebody to hover over their shoulder and be like, "Can you make that a bit more green?" And be like, "Guy, you Philistine, you blinkered, ignorant, hovering art director."
Yeah.
No, I mean everybody's busy. Everybody's super busy, and this has always just been a goof. I'm sorry. There are people out there like, "Oh, Volition is going to revolutionize the." I'm sorry to tell you, this has just always kind of been a goof. It's a long form, 5-year, very expensive, goof.
If you are an artist and you want to do some artwork, we have a whole bunch of art descriptions. Just go do them.
You can even rewrite them. You can even come into our forum and be like, man, I hate these art descriptions.
Yeah, do something
They're
else.
really obnoxious and stupid. I'm going to do something different. You can totally do that. Nobody will be like, no, you can't. You can't. You may not do a fart joke. Nobody's going to ever say that. You have to write that fart joke exactly the way we wrote it. Art it exactly. Draw it just the way we wrote it.
Well, I think part of it too is, and you mentioned it earlier, is the liquidity side of it. I think some people really were in it for that to a degree, or at least knowing they could be and able to monetize their artwork on the chain with the platform and everything. And I think when you don't have that ability to get liquidity, maybe it turns some people off, or turns some of the people that were going to do art just from a stamp standpoint of making stamps and things. They're like, well, I'm not able to do anything with this right now. So I think that's another part of it. And we had talked about maybe looking at atomic swaps and things of that nature as well. So
yeah, we can. It's been like, gosh, we could have liquidity anytime, as you said, through atomic swaps.
Yeah,
like
but there's other issues that come along with that we have to address.
Well, the thing is, the moment we do that, it'll be two things, right? We'll lift the prohibition from the terms of service and say, these are your assets, do whatever you want. You can sell them, do whatever you want. Number one. Number two, implementing, both sides of the, we don't do a lot of Bitcoin or ETH developments since we have our own layer one. But I believe if I implemented atomic swap on Volition, which is not a complicated thing to do, that you can and we put some support in the wallet. You can then swap Vol for ETH and Vol for Bitcoin to your heart's content. Now that will take a respectable path or a short-term path to liquidity off the table, because the virtual currency vendor we're talking to will look at that and immediately say, nope, we're out. Right. They are not a crypto exchange. That's not their business.
Yeah.
And they're made for MMOs and casual, match threes that aren't necessarily gambling. So we'll be saying, look, if they would have come online in a couple months, that's not going to happen now officially.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Put a stake in the heart of that path. You can swap your Vol for other crypto. So if you're into crypto, knock yourself out. If you're not into crypto, but then it's like, okay, well, now our next path to kind of respectable liquidity is waiting all the way until we get on an exchange somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Which could be years, or could be never, because I will never write a check to be listed on. I don't know how you guys feel. I suspect they're like, yeah, we'd love to list you on the exchange. It's only $250,000, and we'll do the work to list you on the exchange.
Yep.
I got other things to do with my $250,000.
That's not. I mean, it's an ideal path if that wasn't the barrier.
Yeah, this is not what we're doing, right? We haven't raised a bunch of venture capital. So yeah, the other question about atomic swaps is, to what extent can we even be involved in that? If I centrally host Volwall and you can create an atomic swap, then again, this will be Exhibit A. If we're unlucky, our regulators can look at it and say, well, you guys are actually running a centralized exchange of some kind or a listing service, and we don't like that. So it's almost like, yeah, we can add it as a function of the blockchain. But even to use it, you got to host your own Volwall. Maybe there's a utility you're using on your own. We can't be in any way as a business endorsing or affiliating or enabling,
Right.
a centrally hosted atomic swapmatron, because then presumably we're an exchange. Again, all this is this question mark. But to answer that question, that's $5,000 to $10,000 in legal fees, which we're not going to do. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, barring, like I said, I'm sick of waiting. So barring something suddenly changing, probably next steps are change the terms of service, implement those atomic swaps, create a better kind of tutorial / path towards self-hosted vol wall so people can actually use those atomic swaps. Which brings us to, is there anything, maybe that can help, motivate a certain type of artist who wants to join the project. That said, we haven't advertised for those people. They haven't necessarily been a path through our door. We had the one guy who came into our forum and was like, I'll do art for you. Please pay me on whatever it was, Patreon. Yeah. And I actually threw $20 in his busker's hat, which he never.
And then he bounced.
Then he left. So I got my $20. Aha, ha.
You're such a noob in this space.
Just a sucker. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. So the other thing is, like, this is 200 and some odd cards plus organized playlists, all that. It's fairly ambitious. We've talked to Carlos about kind of community licensing it in some way,
right?
Which I think is a great idea. Barring a publisher, which again work and effort to set that up, and high probability of failure and kind of orthogonal to our mission. Other thoughts are, are there smaller projects with less art cost but compelling metagames that we can do as separate chains, since since being a miner is identity based. Right. We can have separate chains. That's been part of our whole idea, is one chain per project with the swaps between. Scott and I were talking yesterday about chess with wagering, chess coin for, again, this is all just experimental for fun stuff. Mm-hmm. We can back that pretty easily with cash prizes, they can just conceptual, play chess, write a chess bot, however you chess. If you can win all the chess coin, we'd love to buy that chess coin back from you. Might be fun to do some meta. So there's meta game of let's play with the assets. It's more than just a picture of an ape, that we can do that too. We can do just a flat NFT, sure. But there's meta game, Can we play rock, paper, scissors with these assets? Is there a lottery? We could do, of course. Meta game, which I think are there, maybe the game is to attack, attack the mining nodes and until there's only one remaining, and then you won the blockchain. Now it's yours. It's your blockchain.
That's funny.
Right. Tower defense, mining node tower defense. I don't know.
Yeah.
What was that? Oh man, the one project you had shown, it was a while back, but basically it was the One Life, like RPG. You go in there, it's whoever lives the longest or whatever it was.
Oh my God, Tontine.
Yeah,
the Tontine.
That is a Mischief Collective stuff. Let's see if it's probably still running. Can I put a link? Can you pull it up? Can you share it?
I can't remember what it was.
Here, I got the. I'm gonna put it in the chat. Bring it up.
Oh yeah.
Let's see, 940 living. Scott, do you remember when this started? It was late last year, wasn't it? It was like last November or October.
Yeah, was this the Mish folks?
This is Mischief.
Yeah, it was. Gosh, it must be over a year now, or maybe almost. No, it says 206 days at the top.
Oh, that's right. The hook was you have to log in daily. Simple as that.
$71,000 in the pool, 940 living, 6.2K dead. Been running for 206 days. It's a cute idea.
Don't you just write a bot for this that logs you in every day?
Yeah, I think that's a fine thing to do. You want to be pretty confident that bot works. You want to be careful they don't change their back end in any way.
You can't log in, yeah.
It doesn't, you never know. They might just pull that stuff because they're so mischievous. So mischievous, those guys.
Not a bad idea. Text message alert bot so that when it doesn't log in first time every day, it alerts you and you hurry up and go in and log in.
Yeah. I would. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see that long tail. Maybe this could run for, it's a Tontine, it could run for years.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not even at a year yet. 206 days. Anyway.
It's just a baby in the world of Tontines. Fresh.
Oh.
You clicked the link.
I clicked the link. I think
okay.
Trying to get together maybe some smaller game projects to throw on there, figure out a way to metagame them in the chain, or even just release them as NFTs, and there's not even an on-chain game, just some NFTs that are limited for whether it's collectible work, like we had mentioned. One of the other things one of the artists had done, could put something like that on there, or even like a werewolf or mafia style game, or any of those games that are just a handful of game assets. People can print them off and play them and collect the different arts that might be on them, or the different rarities, even though it's not technically part of a collectible card game.
Well, that's perfectly fine, right? That's real money gaming, right? If they can exchange it, if there's a schedule of rarity, then it's legal. It's just a trading card with the rarity stack, I assume. So I don't know. Do either of you? I've never touched or bought, or I don't know anything about NFTs as they're implemented now. Are either of you guys familiar with how NFTs?
I mean, yeah, to a degree. I mean, what question?
The question is, when I say, "Oh, I'm going to mint a Bored Ape," so they say there are 10,000 Bored Apes, and does that mean there are only 10,000 of those assets? No, because I can mint as many as I want, right? I could mint 50,000 Bored Apes. But is the idea that there's a rarity schedule, that when I mint that, I'm playing a game of chance, and I'll get a rarity of 1 to 10,000? Is that the idea?
No, there's only 10,000 assets that are the actual issued assets.
Really?
Yeah, that's why they're so valuable, and they're all unique.
Are they valuable?
That's why I twitched there.
Oh, it's because they're scarce. It's because there's so few of them that they are then valuable.
Well, yeah, they are scarce though. They are scarce, and they're unique, right? Like so the unique thing about those assets is that they're actually visually unique. They all are generated not randomly, but procedurally generated. There's 10,000 different ones, and those are the issues that are issued.
Well, there are 10,000 different combinations of
the same thing. Yeah,
the same thing. But then you can use slurp. In fact, I hear that you can use multiple slurp juices. You can use slurp juices to change your ape into something even more hideous than what it was, and you use multiple slurp juices.
Interesting.
I hear on the interwebs.
I mean, that would make sense.
I'm a little I was surprised that there are only 10,000 of them, because I read things like, oh, there are 10,000 apes, but some of them are more rare, which I don't understand those words.
They have rare attributes.
What is that? They're all unique, so they're all equally rare.
No. Well, no. Well, right. Yeah, you're correct in that regard. Yes, but so as an example, they may have a cowboy hat, right? And the cowboy hat is a common attribute. So many apes have a cowboy hat. Now, I don't know if that's true, but I'm just as an example.
I got you.
But
So
there may
pieces-
be a beret, and
I
there's
got you.
only 3 apes that have a beret. And so if you get lucky and you have an ape with a beret and the one-of-one sunglasses and the tattoo on the neck that only 10 other apes have, you have a pretty rare breed of ape.
I got you. So
Versus the one with the cowboy hat, the sunglasses, and no neck tattoo.
So it's like you have an ape, and then your ape has stuff, and then that stuff your ape has might be rare.
Correct.
But you can't trade the stuff. You can only trade the whole ape with all
And
of
it's
its
the same with
inventory.
CryptoKitties, right? CryptoKitties was the same way. There's attributes that are rarer than other attributes. So you could end up with like a sextuple rarity cat that has all 6 attributes are super rare, and you have the super rare cat, and then you breed it and try to get those attributes out there. The funny thing is as you're breeding the cat, trying to get more of those attributes out there, the rare attributes, you're making your cat worth less because there's more of those attributes out there as you breed it.
Well, so there's a game mechanic. There's a trade-off. If you
Yeah.
put your cat out to stud, I remember looking at CryptoKitties years ago, and I thought that the model must be that you would be able to get a fee for breeding. I guess you can sell the cats that
I think you can,
you breed.
but generally, yeah, you just breed more cats to sell.
But I also thought there was a higher, there was like a the earlier minted cats were more valuable.
Yeah. I think because they have rarer attributes. I think.
Oh, is that right? They
I
also deleted attributes.
Also, people may want just the notoriety of having one of the first 10 cats. Whether it's got rare attributes or not, they just know, hey, this is one of the first cats out there that's worth something to somebody.
I know part of the experiment is, will communities use these assets somehow as signifiers or to gain access to, kind of as a membership, which I think is, I got to be careful what I say.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting. Is that a thing people do before crypto?
Yeah.
Crypto, you could certainly have a collectible card before crypto existed, and I've certainly never gone to, a game shop and had to say, "Well, hang on, buddy, you can only go in this room if you show us a Black Lotus." That's never a thing that's happened to me. Usually, they say,
Right.
You can only go to this room if you pay us $50." Or, excuse me, sir, you're in violation of your restraining order. Please leave.
I mean, that concept's obviously been around though, because there's like I feel like there's a movie where if you had a coin, you had to have a certain coin, and if you had that coin, you could get into the hotel, was it like a John Wick?
John Wick. Yeah, it's John Wick.
Yeah. And if
it's a lousy identity system. I mean, it's basically an ad. It's like they're trying to solve the anonymized identity, but without the identity piece. And again, as I've said in previous meetings and ad infinitum and ad nauseum, there's no identity without an authority to say to hold you to that.
Right.
It's like, oh well, this is an exclusive club only for people who have a piece of cork. It's like, what? No, that's not at all how it works, right?
Right.
It's like the expensive handbag. It's like if you're a wealthy member of the upper crust, you can sell your handbag, for an appreciated value. But if that same handbag falls into the hands of a grubby, lower class, middle class person such as myself, when I try to sell that handbag, they're going to look at it and be like, "Yeah, I'll give you $200 for it," because it's not the handbag that carries the value.
Right.
Right. It's a contract between members of the same socioeconomic class. And it's more than just having that chip.
Well, if you combine it with like the NFT, sort of generic NFT with the identity piece of Gamerster, I just thought about challenge coins, so like, I don't know, is it military that it came from? So there's an identity piece, which, you don't have to know that someone was in the military or not, but there's sort of collective, a self-governing like, oh yeah, well, everyone pulls out their challenge coin, and the person doesn't have it, has this favorite drinks or whatever. So you could have a sort of a challenge coin tied to an identity, and then you could use that as like to get into your
Well, there's
clubs.
a real there's a use case for that we just discussed yesterday. I think Scott, you and I were talking about a massive multi-billion-dollar toy company in New Zealand sued Glassdoor, and a judge forced Glassdoor to release the names of a group of employees who had written negative reviews of that company. Glassdoor's whole thing is you have to prove that you're an employee. They verify your company email address. Once you do that, you can then log on and say terrible things about your employer, presumably with full anonymity. But as it turns out, a judge in New Zealand thought, nope, not so much. And so this toy company got a judgment against Glassdoor, and now they know the names of those employees. They're going to go sue those employees for writing negative reviews. And of course, it made it more expensive for them to hire. So there are real damages there. So that's like a perfect use case for a privacy preserving, identity tied. Again, it has to be tied to you. You can't just give that to somebody else. It can't be transferable. I'll never understand the whole identity on a blockchain, because the whole point of the blockchain is to disintermediate transactions, and you can't you shouldn't be able to give your identity to somebody, right? But being able to have a challenge coin that says, yeah, I at one point had a google.com, or a whatever.com email address that's tied to my identity. I can prove to you as owner of this identity that I once had, I have or once had an email address in this company. But there's no way you can unmask me. I mean, that's pretty interesting. It's another Gamersford use case, and with a bit more energy. This is what I'm talking about. There's so much stuff I could be working on right now.
Yeah,
if there's a bit of momentum. NFTs. I think we could certainly just do a. I guess we could do a booster pack collectible with generative combinatoric rarity, or exactly like a CryptoKitty fine. Do people use those games for anything other than grift? I don't know.
Yeah, that's the real question, I guess.
It's not so much the thin send stuff that I'm worried about, because this is decentralized and we've seen that work. It's more kind of gaming law stuff, because eventually, as the space matures and regulation comes in and FinCEN gets happy and everybody has an identity, fine. But at some point, people are going to say, well, this really looks a lot like a real money game of chance. Is it strong enough to say, no, this is in every way a cryptographic booster pack? I can go out tomorrow and sell booster packs at the card shop and nobody cares.
Right.
Is buying a magic card a participation in a Ponzi game, by the logic that crypto collectibles are Ponzi's, then yeah, you're willingly buying into that. Your Black Lotus is only valuable if you can sell it to somebody else who really wants a Black Lotus. It's only valuable if that person can sell it to somebody else again.
Right.
Doesn't stop people from doing that.
Well, I think isn't part of it just the origination of the asset, the company or the people behind it not putting a value on that thing? Doesn't that remove you from making it a real? I mean, the Wizards is not putting value on cards at all. They're putting rarities, but they're not saying if you buy this $3 booster pack, you're going to get a $10 card. So yeah, or could.
Yep, exactly correct. Or rather, you're guaranteed exactly the rarity that's stated on the tin.
Yeah.
There's not a if you pay $3, you get $3 worth of cards, which includes one card as rare as any other $3
right
set of cards.
Yeah, it's the secondary market that's applying those values.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm not worried about it. And I wouldn't, these are meant to be fun projects, just to exercise the technology. So I wouldn't suggest we sell. I'd be really happy just to do these as free experiments, just like the original Volition beta.
Of course, yeah. Well, I was just pointing out that's where I think you get much closer to legal issues, is if you try to assign values to those things.
Yeah. Well, also, I'd love to, maybe it is worth paying a bit, some legal fees to see, because I think we could, definitely put collectibles, even metagame collectibles, out there, and we've seen that people have fun with those, because it is fun.
Yeah.
It's an unscheduled reward. It's fun. I like that. Everybody likes a surprise. Part of me also wants to experiment with metagames that have a beginning, middle, and end, like what our buddies at Bishop did with Tontine.
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea of there being a lifespan, and I like the idea of winning the blockchain, and I'd love to tie that to even a real world prize, if we can do that without running afoul of gambling law.
You say pies? Maybe if we made it pies. Pies as your.
I said prize, but I mumbled. But I like pies too. Real world pies.
Real world pies.
Blockchain of
yeah,
pie.
I like that. I do like that. I like that notion of like a sort of everyone's playing the same game together, and there's a what you said, an end point.
There's an end.
Yeah.
I remember the old bulletin board games, and they would run for weeks and weeks, but there was an end. You'd eventually get all the space crystals or whatever the heck it was.
My question is then, though, why are we why run it on any sort of decentralized blockchain style ledger? Why run it on that if at the end it just doesn't exist anymore anyway, or one person owns it? Like what is the point of that? Might as well just have a centralized server, and then once they win, you shut the server down or something.
I feel like that's part of the experiment, right? Like I certainly don't want to run a game server. Do you want to run a game server? I don't even like games. Games are stupid. Better things, important pies to eat than cigars to smoke. Or run game servers. Yeah, I don't. To me, this is a new genre of game.
Right.
Yeah, and I could do the same thought experiment in reverse, right? We can run a game server, but then we're not going to do that for a long time because we're easily distracted. So we're going to tell people who have their assets on that server, you can run mirrors of that server, as many as you want, to feel secure that your game assets are going to survive, and then we can stop running the server and knock yourselves out. So it's interesting to think about.
Almost like a torrent.
I mean, that's what distributed ledger is, right? It's
slightly different than a torrent, but yeah.
Essentially, it's like, hey, we just need a way that bad actors can't go and change what's on that mirror,
Yeah.
So we have Byzantine fault tolerance. And then a way it's the experiment is, can that be gamified? That's that should be a game action to run that server. You're either running it because you want to monetize people who want to play the game, and the cost of running that server, as it turns out, is about $35. Actually, it's about $3.50. It's less than $5 a month, but you got to spin it up. So if you have a server, you can run about 5 to 10 instances on there, and enjoy the lucrative cash flow, of running a node for people playing games. No, it'd be way more fun. I think everybody who came into it is doing it because it's fun, right?
Yeah.
Or was doing it because it seemed fun at the time. So I think perversely creating a distributed ledger that can be collapsed by its users in a gamified fashion. It doesn't make any sense, but it sounds like fun. Doesn't have to, none of it makes sense, It's just
No.
the moment you say we're not going to subvert regulations and create a platform for avoiding censorship, then it's just like, well, what's fun? What's the most goofy thing? What would be the fun thing to do?
Yeah.
Yes, design a blockchain that destroys itself. Got it.
Why not? Why not? I won the blockchain.
I mean, there's a project out there called Bomb Token, and every time you send it, it self-destruct. A portion of it self-destructs.
Yeah.
So it's over time, it's going to come down to one token that can't be sent because you don't have enough tokens to send it.
You'll have won the bomb token. I would, if I had a bomb token, I would have happily put a bounty on that. Because I hate blockchains and I think they're terrible for the environment. I'll happily pay. I thought it should be a bounty. If people really want to put their money where their mouth is, crowdsource a bounty to send Bitcoin to a dead wallet. We know the price right now is about what, $20,000 to do that.
To send a Bitcoin, yeah.
Yeah, right. To send a Bitcoin. I'm gonna throw them away. Sure, I'll pay the last holder of the last bomb token, a bounty. To rid the world of bomb tokens.
What was crazy with that project, at that one point, they gave away like 1,000 bomb tokens to anybody that asked at one point. Mm-hmm. And there was a point where bomb tokens were worth $6 a piece. So the average user had $6,000 worth of bomb tokens, and there were people selling them, cashing out. People that weren't, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These again, this is real money gaming. Anybody who's like, what's the use case? It's like, it's unregulated real money gaming, right? It's,
Yeah,
use case is, I don't want to go to Las Vegas. I like money. These fools are being exploited. Like, no, everybody knows that it's a goof.
Yeah, they'll just claim they're being exploited when they lose all their money.
I was exploited. I don't know if people are showing up, or if the negative press is like outsiders looking in, trying to like, oh, it's terrible. Look at these people losing all of this money. It's like, are people coming like, oh, I played the slot machine and I didn't win?
Right. Well, yeah, because that's why we have gaming regulations, right?
That's why we have gaming regulations.
So yeah, clearly people do that.
For the early days, I remember looking at it back in 2017. It's not even the early days, but I remember looking back then, and it was just blatantly like, yeah, this is absolutely another Ponzi smart contract on ETH, and it seemed to me even at the time that the primary use of Ethereum smart contracts were self-described Ponzi schemes.
Yeah, good
I think I remember the early games on there were often just like pick a number, like choose and find the magic number. It's just like betting on 3-card Monte or whatever.
Yeah,
the early was just like pick a number. Lottery, I guess.
Yeah, there were a lot of those, which is not even an on-chain, source of randomness. It was always like,
yeah,
just obviously, like, oh, you're using blockchain for transparency and accountability.
Yeah,
it's like, we'll have a forever record that we picked a random number.
Yeah,
determine the winner. No, it should be fun, and I got a couple ideas from this conversation. We'll talk more and pick from the skill base of chess to all the way something just as goofy and random. And our ability to offer prizes directly inversely proportional to the amount of randomness. Right. I should say.
Pie lottery, I think.
Pie lottery.
Win the pies.
You mine the pies and then you try to eat all the pies, or
the
grand
sell the pies to people that want to eat the pies. and all the pies are gone.
All the pies are gone. There are a
To
lot
work
of
in pi to the actual, you have
Yeah.
to solve pi to X number of.
How many digits are we out to on pi? How many millions of digits? What else? I feel like there's something else. The the Volition beta nodes and assets.
Mhm.
We will lift the embargo on selling those. You shouldn't sell those. You shouldn't buy those. They're not worth anything. Maybe one day there will be an exchange where you can trade one of those for a whatever we do next. Maybe Andreessen Horowitz will write us a check for $20 million and we'll make a real card game. And you can trade your Volition beta. I don't know. If you mine Volition beta assets, we're just going to change the terms of service. You can keep running your node, knock yourself out, do whatever you want.
Trade them away, print them off and play games, open all your packs.
Yep.
All of your slots, whatever.
Make art for them, whatever. They're yours. It's time to say goodbye to Volbot. In the future, to participate, you'll just need an identity from GamerCert. Those are free. Join the Discord for GamerCert. I will give you a magical code that will give you a free identity. It costs me money to do that. I have to pay the KYC vendor, and I'm obviously paying, to keep GamerCert running. Read the terms of service there. As I said last time, GamerCert is your fiduciary. We're using a bunch of stuff to make sure your PII is safe and secure. But Wallbot is going to be a thing of the past soon. We'll bring over CertBot, who can give you a token if you're give you a flag if you have an identity. Great. And then we're probably going to we're running a handful of mining nodes ourselves for beta. We're going to stop doing that. It's been great for development. We're going to put those effort. Again, it's not much, but we just got to keep the lights on. In future versions of the mining node will not be backwards compatible. It's been at 0.00 whatever for the longest time now. To make this node ready for more uses, I need to refactor it. I'm going to move over to a different kind of signature that's a lot more efficient and secure. It's work to keep back compat. So I'm going to say beta in my mind was a success. People showed up, they ran nodes, it worked. We're going on 1 million blocks, right? Or more?
More.
Yeah.
There's still so much that can be done to optimize, but it's running precisely the way I hoped it would. Volwall will continue to be compatible for a while anyway.
1.1 million.
Not bad. Not bad. Running since what, last fall?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool to see come from nothing to mining 1 million plus blocks, and people have assets and they can do what they want with those assets. Trade them, print them, destroy them, open up another wallet, send them all there, delete the wallet, whatever.
I think looking back on it for the next run of this, figuring out a more engaging metagame, obviously with art, but I think there are assets and you could do some light crafting. And I remember back in the day, I was saying that's enough. Just if you can craft a thing, we're good. We'll prove out that functionality.
Yeah.
But I hope that what we learn with the next batch of stuff is what kind of metagame mechanics are rewarding for folks.
Yeah, I mean, we have our self-destructing assets already.
We do.
So that worked.
We do. All right. Well, I hope Carlos is traveling. I hope Carlos, I hope you watch. I hope you can join us next week. We'll be talking more offline. Anybody else? I'd encourage to join. You know, if you're philosophically interested in this stuff, hopefully it's clear we got a lot of experiments to do. So we welcome collaborators.
Yep. Tell us your ideas. Tell us if our ideas suck.
Don't tell us sorry. We already know why. There's an infinite list. It'd be a very long, a lot more interested in, can we do something fun and funny?
That's true.
I read the Crypto Critics every single day, and I am steeped in crypto skepticism from head to toe. So I know all the reasons not to do it, but there's definitely an inkling of something there.
Yeah, here we are.
And we're ready and willing to get weird with it.
All righty. Think we'll end it on that. Until next week.
See you guys.